It's Thursday. Let's do the bell ringer. It says a student builds a stack of different layers of clay and places two marbles in one of the layers of clay. So we labeled it, or he labeled it, she, whatever, as a cross section of earth layers. So here we have layer one, two, and three, and both the marbles appear to be in layer two, the same layer. Using this model, which concept can the student best communicate about the marbles? I'm going to tell y'all something right now. Whenever they put in best, especially when it's nice and bold, that is a hint that there are going to be two answers that are probably going to look pretty good. Okay? But you want to pick the answer that looks so good that it just has to be correct. So as soon as you see best, already be on like high alert. They're going to try to trick you here. Okay? Don't let them do that to you. So let's go through, let's pick out two answers that I'm pretty sure just aren't going to be right. And then we'll talk about the correct answer versus the distractor. So let's see here. A says the marbles represent organisms of the same species that died. Now, first off, he made the two marbles two different colors anyway. So that's kind of already telling us he's probably representing two different species. So that's probably not going to be it. And also, nothing about where they are in the layers really says what species they are. Because remember, the layers is what's actually going to tell us how old the species is. So let's just say no thank you to choice A. Choice C says the marbles represent organisms that become extinct at different times. And extinct, we remember, means that the entire species completely dies, so there are no more of them around. Now, again, where we are doesn't really say when it becomes extinct. And also, it says different times. So let's take a look at this. When we're looking at the layers of the earth, we remember that the top layer, let's pretend up here is where there's a bunch of grass. This is where we're living. Hello, hi, we're up walking around. This is the top of the earth. So this is going to be the youngest rocks and the youngest fossils because they were on top of the earth the most recent. So the farther down you go into the earth, the older they become. So layer 3 here is going to be the oldest. And the fossils and rocks in each of these layers are going to be around the same age, okay? So having these two fossils be extinct at different times, first, you don't even see that they're existing in different time periods, right? We have these two marbles in one layer, which means they were around at the same time. So C, that answer's not really doing it for me, you know? Okay, so that leaves us with B and D. Now, these two answers look like they're saying very similar things. Let's look at it. B says the marbles represent different fossils that are about the same age, and D says the marbles represent rocks that became fossils at about the same time. Okay, you're like, what's the difference, right? So B here is saying that these fossils, when they were alive, they were around the same time period. So these two fossils, since they're in the same layer, we know that they're going to be the same age. So like let's say all the rocks and fossils, all the fossils in layer one, let's say they're 1 million years old. Let's say all of these are 10 million years old, and these are, I don't know, 20 million years old. So since these fossils are in both in layer 2, we know they are both 10 million years old. Now D says the marbles represent rocks that became fossils at about the same time. So we know that to become a fossil, it takes millions and millions of years after they've already been buried. They have to go through a bunch of processes. They have to be heated up. They have to be pressed down, buried in the sand. So that is going to take a long time and not necessarily the same amount of time for each type of fossil. So where they are in the fossil layers doesn't determine how long it takes for them to become fossils. It just determines what their actual age was when they were alive, walking around, or being a plant, or whatever type of fossil it is. So again, the layer that they're in has nothing to do with how long it takes them to become a fossil. It just shows how long ago that living thing, that animal, that plant was alive on the earth. So our answer here is going to be B. That is the one that's going to be best. So put your answer, tell me why it is correct, and then you're done.